Welcome to video number 2 in our study of how to choose your target market and your ideal properties. And in this video, I'm going to focus on the market part of that. And so instead of just looking at the property, the types of properties, we're going to talk about the overall market and how you choose where to invest. And I want to start off looking at this by giving you sort of our goal as an investor. And so you could think about this as your mantra when you're building your business. You know, what are we here to do as a real estate investor? And really, I see it as we're hunting for bargains. So we are trying to make money on these properties. So in some form or fashion, and we'll go into that a lot in the deal analysis videos, but we're hunting for bargains. And then not only are we hunting for bargains, we're hunting for them in demand locations. And demand here is a key word. And when I was studying real estate, I've had a couple different teachers emphasize this fact that we're not just going anywhere in the country, we're not just going anywhere in our town, we're going to places that are going to be in demand. So remember our analogy that we have an ideal customer here, Tom. And Tom likes certain parts of town, he likes certain things. And so we have to understand. I guess he's skiing or something there, or surfing on a surfboard. I don't know what he's doing here. But in any case, Tom has certain things in his life and his family's life that are important to them, and so that they make buying decisions. These are real people making real decisions, and they decide to buy a house for certain reasons. And so as in the last video I talked about, we need to understand what those reasons are. And why does this affect our real estate investing? Let me give you just kind of two extremes. One is you buy a house that is just in just a hot area. It's in, I'm trying to think of somewhere, it's out in California, and it's in an area that there are lots of people moving into town because it's just such a cool place to live. There are things to do there. It's just a great climate. There are plenty of jobs. You know, if you're half decent at anything, you can get a job because there are just more people moving in, and then they have the people to work and do things. And so for a lot of reasons that we'll discuss, that place is in demand in general. The general location's in demand. And then you buy a house in a neighborhood that is just right in the thick of things. It's not way out of town. It's actually just right in the middle of it. And so you buy it, and you buy it for $100,000. And I know that's not possible in California, but we'll just roll with me there. That was 20 years ago maybe. So you buy the property for 20 years ago, for $100,000. And why does this in demand factor help us as an investor? Is that a couple of reasons. The most important is that one of our primary strategies is to produce income. And so if we're going to rent a property out, that's sort of the fundamental. Even if you are buying and flipping houses, the rental income, the amount of income people are willing to pay for a property as a rental is sort of the foundation of your market. And so there are people who are willing to rent your house, and over time that rent will get stronger and stronger. And so what you want is properties that have rising rents, or at least solid rents, where you can keep your rents the same and where you have low vacancies. If you're in the rental business and you can increase your rents over time, or at least keep it, and then you can keep it full, you're going to have a pretty good business. And one of the biggest mistakes that I've made and that I've seen other investors make in the choice of a location in a property is by choosing locations that aren't easy to rent. The vacancies are really high, and the rents might even fall in some cases. So you can imagine the other extreme. So this is the in-demand location. Let's say you're in a town and it's in the middle of nowhere, and I'm not going to pick a particular region of the country, but let's just say this used to be a manufacturing area, and you know this house is and there's lots of people moving out of town. They don't want to be there. They say we're getting out of Dodge, because number one, they don't have jobs, and the manufacturers move somewhere else. It's a really cold place to be. Nobody really liked living there anyway, and it's just dirty and it's polluted and all sorts of other reasons. And whatever the case, the general location is not very desirable, and so people are moving out of town. And you used to rent this house. You bought it. You bought it's the exact same house. And you bought it for $100,000, and over time, the rent you were getting because there's so many people leaving, and there are a lot of vacant houses. And so this is just the basics of economics. There's a higher supply of houses than there is demand for people. And so you are in the supply business by buying houses. You are supplying them either as a rental or you're selling them as well. But in either case, you want the demand factor to be on your side. You want there to be just an overwhelming demand for your product. And so that's really what we're studying here in this target market section, is how do you make sure, or at least tilt it in your favor, to make sure that your rental, or when you're selling a house eventually, because you always have to think about selling your rental, or if you're in the buy and flip business, you need to think about how can I make sure I'm going to areas where my rent or my selling is going to be in demand. So that's what these factors are. They affect that demand location. And remember, it's always about this person who is buying the house. And we're going to look at everything through his eyes to make sure we understand whether this is a demand location or not. So that's just a start. I wanted to mention that, the demand location part of this business. In the next video, I'll start talking about the actual particulars of a market, including the particulars that we're going to study, including demographics, and then also location factors. Those are the two things we'll focus on here in the next couple videos. See you there.